what have we got first up? So we have got this one first up. So excuse me, I'm sticking today with the theme of drinking and drinking cups and specifically Bacchus, because as I mentioned, I am launching my television channel Beyond the Palette TV, which is available through my website, and I'm starting with classical antiquity and working my way through the different eras of Western art right up to the modern day in my own inimitable way, hence the crazy toga video. So at the moment it's all about classical antiquity and I'm sticking with Bacchus and drinking and cups, but this time I'm going Roman. So last week we were talking, or I was talking at you about Hephaestus and Dionysus and that kind of subtle and nuanced story of basically how Hephaestus got pissed and was reconciled with his mum. That's the bottom line, isn't it? This time, so this is a cup that is from Roman antiquity. So this was found in I think it's second century. This was found in Rennes in northern France when a house was a house was being demolished. Okay, and it was like the 17th century, 18th century. It was the late 1700s, and all these things sort of started to be churned up with the ground that were kind of glinting, and turns out to be this fantastic haul of artifacts, such as this bowl, which is 23 karat gold, so incredibly precious. It is a drinking bowl, but it's Roman. And it depicts, in the centre there, you can see Bacchus, and you can see that he is holding up, and I'm calling him Bacchus now rather than Dionysus. So Dionysus is the Greek name for Bacchus. So in the centre you have Bacchus, who is holding up his drinking cup, and he's sort of got his other arm, it looks like it's leaning, but actually in his other hand he's carrying his staff, which has an acorn on the top. You can see it a little bit there. The staff is a thyrsus or a thyrsus, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So you'll quite often see him and his followers with the staff with the acorn on the top, which signifies like prosperity and hedonism and joy, and fertility, kind of all the good things in life, essentially. You can see just about here, I hope you can see which character he is. He's the one sort of pretty much bang smack in the centre. You can see here he's got something around his head, and I just want to talk about that, because actually what he's got around his head is not a vine leaf as you might expect. It is actually ivy, and I feel like I want to go, oh no, look, look, I can, oh, who knew? I can make myself bigger and smaller. Oh my God, I'm going to play with that for a second. I'm trying to make the picture bigger and I can't. But ivy was, Bacchus was often adorned with ivy, not vine leaves, as most people imagine he is, because ivy was supposed to ward off drunkenness. And actually the ivy berries were supposed to be a great hangover cure. That might be because they're poisonous and they made you vomit. I don't know. But yeah, so actually, apparently, quite a lot of old English pubs would have ivy above the door to show that they served great drinks. Or the alcohol was good there. Like, I don't know, that's sort of self-proclaiming, so slightly defeats the object, doesn't it? Anyway, ivy actually associated with Bacchus. So he's got his staff of joy, his crown of ivy, he's got his drinking cup, all is good in the world as Bacchus. Below him, you can see this wild cat type creature. Well, that is a wild cat. That is actually a panther. I'm going to see whether I've got a bigger image. Hang on. No, I haven't. That's a panther, and the panther would pull Bacchus's chariot when he was on the move. So the panther is ready to pull Bacchus when he's ready to be off. And of course, if you're living the good life, what do you need? Well, you obviously need good music if you're living the good life. And so to the left of this plate is a little guy, not a girl, but a guy playing a double flute, which we know to be an aulos. Remember Flute Girl? Although I'm saying good music, or it might have been maybe the music wasn't quite so delicious to our ears, but anyway, music. The guy on the right hand side of this cup, the sort of muscle man, so he is also he's a protagonist in this story as well. So instead of the story of Dionysus and Hephaestus, here we have the story of Dionysus and Hercules. So this is a drinking contest between Dionysus and Hercules. It was used quite often. I'm just going to show you another image as well. Sometimes it's hard to know how well you're going to be able to see these. Here we go. You can see this one a little bit better. So here we go. So here is Dionysus, or Bacchus. I need to call him Bacchus. This is Roman again. This is a pavement mosaic. And it was one of 5 that was in a room that was thought to be a dining room in an early Roman villa. I think 2nd century, and it's quite extraordinary actually. If you look at it, it really looks like an incredibly convincing space, somewhere that you could kind of drop into as you fall to the floor from your dining activities. Drinking, that's what I'm talking about. So Bacchus again in the centre with his, I don't know if they're vine leaves or ivy this time, with his thyrsus, with his cup that he's holding up and he's tipping it up. It's empty, so he has finished his drink. Whereas Hercules, who's on the left this time, is kind of kneeling up and making a heroic effort to follow on from Bacchus. He's not winning though, because look, there's a little guy in the center of this image who is probably he's like a little personification of wine. He's probably a what's the name, Ampellus, and he is holding his hands out, but actually what he's doing is clapping, and he's clapping in Bacchus's direction. So it's very clear that Bacchus has won either this round of drinking, because if you remember the Greek symposium, and this is riffing off the Greek symposium, this is essentially the gods at a Greek symposium, and in a Greek symposium you had to all drink at the same time, the same amount, so from the same size cups, and you had to drink at the same speed, and if you didn't, I guess that you were the last one. I don't know, the rubbish one. So that's what's happening here, and so Bacchus has won either this round or the whole competition. We know that he is in the end going to win the whole competition, because the Romans used this as an allegory. The story of Hercules and Bacchus having a drinking competition is, I think, just a Roman made up thing. It doesn't appear in any literature. It doesn't appear in any, to my knowledge, Greek art. So this is the Roman take on basically wine triumphing over physical strength. So it's a similar similar story. Well, it's kind of actually the same story, really, as Hephaestus, but the Greeks were just a bit more subtle, a little bit more nuanced, because, of course, drink wins out over physical strength in the Hephaestus story, where the god of war, Ares, couldn't force him to go and release his mother, but Bacchus gets him pissed, and he does it of his own accord, although it's the wine talking. So here I'm absolutely delighted to say that Flute Girl is back. So there she is over on the left hand side, playing her double flute, playing the aulos. Rather more clothes on than the boys in this image. And then the guy over to the right hand side, the older guy with his hand up, is Silenus, who is Bacchus's great friend and teacher. You see actually in some images, or if you were reading about these images, sometimes kind of Silenus type characters, so the male followers of Bacchus that perhaps are slightly older gentlemen, they are referred to as Sileni. So Silenus is his main teacher and mate, but the Sileni is the name given to male followers of Bacchus. Female followers of Bacchus, there isn't one in this image, but there's one. If I go back quickly to this image, so these ladies behind, Maenads. So difference between nymphs and Maenads. Very important. Nymphs were mythical creatures who brought Bacchus up, so they helped to raise Bacchus. Maenads were mortal women who were made mad, as in this fabulous image, in the service of Bacchus. So some people say it was against their will. So basically, well, you know what? Let me tell you what a Maenad's duties were, and you can decide whether you think they became Maenades against their will or not. So here she is. She's kind of wild and crazy on a drinking cup. Someone messaged me this morning and said it looks like she needs the chiropractor before she does anything else. Yeah, that's true. She's holding, in fact, she's just basically being held up by a thyrsus again. So the staff with the acorn on the top, which unfortunately has been damaged at a crucial point. But so Maenads, they would spend most of their time tending to the harvest. So here they are on another drinking cup with Sileni. So the black figures are the Sileni, and then the figures in white. So there's a woman in the centre here who's holding a big bunch of grapes. It's like she might be treading the grapes, don't know. So this is a Maenad. So they would look after the vines, they would help to make the wine and just kind of make sure that everything was running smoothly. But then I'm guessing that they didn't do that every day, because I'm guessing sometimes they had horrific hangovers, because they would then perform, and this is actually what I think is going on here, they would then perform bacchanals, or be involved in bacchanals. And a bacchanal, or a Dionysic cult ritual, it was it was quite an occasion, to be honest with you. So basically, you would drink a lot, and they would drink a lot. So they being the Maenads. Maenads actually means madness or frenzy. So they would drink a lot, and then they would dance a lot, like dance to exhaustion. You know how it goes, and then drink some more, or drink while they were dancing, and then they would take their clothes off and carry on dancing, and then they would drink a lot more, and then they would all indulge in a big orgy, and they would drink some more, and kind of so it went on. So it was sex, dancing, alcohol, essentially. But the purpose of this was that they would try and work themselves into this frenzy, so that they would sort of lose themselves and be inhabited by Bacchus himself. So it's a sort of a spiritual, I don't know, something, a spiritual enlightenment. It was a religious rite of passage for these women. They were maybe an unusual way to have a very deep meaningful religious experience, but this is exactly what they were going for, because Bacchus was a god. So he was the god of wine, but he was a god. So so that's what they were trying to attain, essentially. And yeah, so the Maenads were the followers of Bacchus. I mean, you know, whether they did this willingly or not, I don't know. Now you know kind of what their duties were. It's up to you to decide. Maybe some went willingly to their fate, maybe some not so much. But yeah, I think that this lady here has found Bacchus. I think she's got to that state. Maybe not so much these. I'm just going to finish on this image. This is... what was that one? Oh no, that one. Yes. So this is Poussin, and this is a Bacchanal. So you have Lynne or and satyrs and Maenads all dancing in this frenzy. There's a little baby satyr over to the left hand side. I love that. She's like squeezing grapes into his bowl that he's carefully collecting. So this is Nicolas Poussin from much later. So this is 1623-24. There, and it's called, I think, Maenad's Dancing Before a Term. So a term is this statue over to the right hand side. There we are. There we go. Which is probably of Pan. So Pan, the god of the wild, if you like, or the god of everything. Pan means everything. Called a herm in Greek, called a term in Roman, in the Roman language, in Roman, Greek and Roman, Greek, and Roman. That just didn't sound right for a minute, but it is right. Meaning a sort of a bust. So he won't have any legs. He'll just be on a sort of plinth from his thighs downwards. Obviously all the important bits though have been carved. You can't have a fertility god without the important bits, can you? He's looking very happy with himself anyway, isn't he? So here we go. So Poussin has depicted all of these Maenads dancing in this crazy Bacchic frenzy in front of a term. And I'm going to say I think this must be pretty much at the beginning of the celebrations rather than at the end, because they are all standing on their feet. Most of them are still fully clothed. One guy has managed to get his kit off early. One of them's even resisting. Look, she's even resisting advances down on the bottom right hand corner. But this is Poussin. This is what he was very good at, and I'm actually kind of gratuitously ending on this image because a Poussin exhibition is about to open in the National Gallery on the 9th of October. What's that? Saturday. Running for several months. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. So if you happen to be in London, go and have a look. There we go. Maenads, Bacchanals, drinking competitions, the fact that the Romans aren't quite as subtle as the Greeks, and herms or terms. Quite a lot today, wasn't it? Let's turn sharing off. Oh, now look, I just never knew I could do that. That's so cool. I could turn comments on. Oh, I'm just gonna make myself bigger and smaller for the fun of it. There we are. My video. Okay. Oh, hello, Emma. Hello, Christine. Yay. Oh no, I need to go smaller now. Jeez, ooh, that's scary. So yeah, thanks for joining. So next week, actually, hopefully, I will be talking about a series of frescoes that are quite famous, that depict a Bacchanal or a really important ritual, possibly a marriage ritual. And Maenad's feature heavily. No Pan, but Maenad's feature heavily. The original rave culture, yeah, completely. Might not, though, have been as crazy as the cult of Cybele. The cult of Cybele was so wild that the Romans tried to prevent it happening. So that was, strangely, a bunch of eunuchs, and they really took everything to an even madder degree. But I think that freaked the Romans out because it was more, there was sort of homosexuality, bisexuality, intersex, is that the right word? Hermaphrodites. I love the word hermaphrodite. I think it's such a beautiful word, but I think it's not the word to say anymore, is it? And it was like, and it just completely freaked them out. Ooh, Villa of the Mysteries, Steph, you get the gold star. Well done. Yes, Villa of the Mysteries. Villa dei Misteri. Hopefully next week. If not next week, I promise you the week after, because it is mentioned in the video that is soon to be coming out on Beyond the Palette television, which is called Made in Marble, as in MAID in marble. Good title. And yeah, I'm excited. There's a few tweaks, but hopefully it'll be ready. So on that note, I'm going to go, and I will see you all next week from Barcelona. Oh, new different surroundings. That'll be exciting. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks very much for joining today, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.